You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Personally, I've never had a problem with teams manipulating the LTIR loophole. Never complained about it once. Let's get into it with the lead. Welcome in. It's Monday, August 12th. This is Oilers Nation Everyday coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio.
Live.
We're always live. Monday, Wednesday, Friday through the summer. And it is the middle of summer right now. It's the dog days, but that doesn't mean we don't have something to get into.
The Oilers have made this summer there's only been a few shows where we've had to lack.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they've played all the way up till the end of June.
Yeah, that helped.
And then they stayed relatively busy in the offseason. Mm-hmm. They've made some good moves. They made some controversial moves. And today we got a little bit of news from our friend. We call him our friend, even if he doesn't want to admit it.
Oh, no.
Not the podcast. No, Bob Stauffer. Bob Stauffer dropping this earlier this morning on Twitter. Hearing there is a very good chance that Oilers' Evander Kane won't be ready for the start of the season. He may require surgery and is likely to be on LTIR to start the year.
Whoa!
Who could have seen this coming?
That is crazy.
The team that spent way over the cap still has two LTIR or two RFAs to sign is going to be putting a player who was hurt for a good chunk of the playoff run on LTIR to start the season. Who could have seen this coming? I got a good chuckle. We're going to have our pal David Quadrelli on a little bit later. And I texted him in the morning, said, hey, could you do the show? He said, sure. This came down and he was like, I'm assuming you're canceling my hit to spend the show on this. I'm like, Quads, we've been talking about this exact scenario already for months. So no, we're for about a month. So no, we're pretty well covered on this. It's not exactly surprisingly, and we made it the lead of the show today because the Bob doesn't tweet this if there's not a really damn good chance of it happening. This wasn't him hinting at it an hour or two of his show or sneaking it in somewhere. This is about as upfront as you can say it if you're Bob Stauffer, who, again, is incredibly well plugged in. So
yeah,
this is probably going to happen, and it's not exactly surprising either because when you go look at the Puckpedia page for the Edmonton Oilers, they are $354,000 over the salary cap. They need to sign Holloway. They need to sign Broberg. Now, you could get really close to making it work by running with a roster that is at its bare minimum to start, right? You could send down Josh Brown, send down Corey Perry. That's $2.1 million. That gives you $1.8 million to sign Holloway and Broberg. And then I think even on top of that, you could almost send down another guy. Puckpedia is not loading up for me right now. But you could make it work for night one, but you're running with a bare minimum 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, 2 goalies. And that's not ideal. But what this allows now, just to finish the thought exercise, is you can now sign Broberg to, again, $900K probably. You're going to sign Holloway to $900K. There are, I believe, advantages to being cap compliant on night one and then paper transactioning some guys. And then you put Kane on LTIR and you start the season cap compliant, then move into LTIR space. It makes the deadline more complicated, but the path to this thing getting sorted out is about as clean as it's been.
Yeah, it really has. But you know, like we've seen this all summer. Like they're probably not done. I would not be shocked if they still have one thing left in the bag to balance things out a little bit more and make themselves a bit more flexible in places too. But I think for Evander Kane, it does suck to see him kind of go on LTIR. If you take away the money aspect, he is a 20-goal guy.
24 goals last season.
Been good on the ice during his time with Edmonton. So you kind of wish he was healthy for it. But from the financial perspective, it just makes too much sense that this was going to inevitably happen because the Oilers, like you said, have 2 guys to sign still.
Yeah. 2 guys to sign. Again, the path to make it work. It always felt like this was going to be it. If they didn't think this was a good possibility, they don't act the way they do in the first week of July. Yeah. And if they didn't think this was a possibility and they acted the way they did in the first week of July and there was a Cody Ceci trade out there, they would probably have made the Cody Ceci trade by now, right? Again, if this Kane thing couldn't happen, they would have figured out their cap situation because no smart organization, and I will called a Jeff Jackson-led Edmonton Oilers a smart organization. They know what they're doing. They have a plan. They're not just shooting from the hip on July 1st and 2nd and then sitting there a week later going like, well, we'll fix it in September.
Yeah.
Like, by now, you would have made other moves if you didn't believe this was a distinct possibility, which is why I was never all that worried about the cap situation.
Does it worry you? Like, how much on a scale of 1 to 10 does it worry you that they're going to go into the season with a minimal roster?
It doesn't, because it's only until Kane goes on LTIR then you can call everyone back up.
Yes.
And you can run a full roster. So there's no concern.
So it doesn't at all.
No. And I did see a little bit of that coming into the Greta Bar YouTube chat. Yeah. So no, I'm not that worried about it. I think, there's obviously the surgery thing is interesting because that's exactly what the Lightning did with Kucherov, right? It was, he went through the offseason, and again, the Sam Carrick's in the chat, I want to cheat. Yeah, like it's not cheating, it's fudging the numbers or fudging the rules a little bit or bending the truth, because all you have to do, similar to what the Bolts did, is say Kane didn't want surgery in the summer, he wants to rehab. Kane shows up for day one at camp, they put him through medical, and they go, ooh, we're going to recommend surgery to you again. And then he decides to do it. And guess what? Surgery takes a 4 to 5 month recovery time, and poof, you're in the playoffs. That's what this is.
I don't even, cheating to me is kind of a weird way to put it as well, because if you actually see it as well, it's not like Kane's got injured in the playoffs. He literally missed the last few games.
Did not play.
Like, didn't play. Just these last couple of years for him have just been so injury plagued, and having him back 100% healthy is going to be so beneficial. Good in you put in the chat. Are you worried that Kane not playing hockey in Edmonton for a long period? Are we worried about Kane not playing hockey in Edmonton for a long period of time with his history?
No,
not really.
I that didn't even cross my mind, honestly.
I think actually it could be beneficial, because Kane would be away from the team on ice
to an extent. Yeah.
However long. Let's say all season.
Let's say right up until the playoffs. Why not?
Why not? Comes back in the playoffs. Kane for short stints is unreal for this team.
Oh, he's
so good.
When he's hot, he's legit smoking. Top 6 game-changing kind of guy.
So I'm going to lean more that way and try and take a positive out of it on that side of things. I think Kane can come back. Who knows what they do at the deadline? Kane's also has his no trade clause available March 1st.
Kicks in. But if he's hurt, you can't trade him. So
maybe he's not hurt. You can trade players on LTIR, right? Because there was that whole thing of Gustav Nyquist, remember, a couple of years ago?
Yeah. You're right.
Get him and take him back. So
yeah, you could, I guess.
I don't know. I'm thinking of hypotheticals here. That's kind of what I'm wondering.
I think it's probably he sits out. I think
he's likely to sit out to the playoffs too. But
I kind of think so too.
The deadline thing is an interesting wrinkle.
Interesting, and also when you get to the deadline, like if Kane's going to come back, let's say he's like it's February and he's like, "Okay, I'm ready to go." Okay, then maybe you have to run with a minimal roster for a bit. Mm-hmm. Maybe at that point someone else is hurt, right? Like that is another thing that could there you
go. Thomas Hurdle, another one.
He was. That's a good one. Yeah. So you can trade guys when they're hurt. I just think you'd have a hard time trading Evander Kane.
Depends.
When he's hurt, but depends. Yeah.
I like that one there by Maddie, and I think that brings another good point too. Kane took out Quinn Hughes with his physicality, physical play, helped us get by Vancouver. He totally did, and that's another thing. Like in that short stint when he was healthy, he was actually solid in those LA and Vancouver series. I think did he get injured towards the end of the LA series?
I don't remember the exact moment.
But whatever it was, he definitely faded out a little bit in the Vancouver series, but his physicality in that moment was beneficial. And then from that point on, he was just a bit too banged up to really have an effect on the game.
And like my problem and my qualms with Kane during his time as an Oiler have been, sometimes puts himself in the light too much. He can become a distraction, and it's been consistency over long stretches. But there's no denying that when he is on, this might be a bit of a hot take, but in terms of the forwards and who can actually affect the games, it probably goes McDavid, Draisaitl, Kane when he's at his best. He has more,
from what we know,
he has more play driving, game changing ability than Hyman. Hyman is just wildly consistent and way better in front of the net.
Yes.
But like Kane can score from distance. Kane can disrupt the game or can change the game with his physicality. Like he can do a lot of things really, really well. If he's coming back for night one of the playoffs at 100% healthy, I think you see Evander Kane about as motivated as he's ever been as an Oiler. Will he be out that long? I don't know. But
interesting. Yeah, I never thought of it like that, of him being the third one. There's just so many stars you would kind of you wouldn't put him there, right? He's never consistent in the top 6. You don't really know. Bouchard's had his moments, but yeah, Kane is probably the guy.
I do like poking fun at people when they just throw comments in. Colin is in. Did the stream get updated to Bob's tweet that Kane won't be ready for the season and is going to need surgery? It is the title of the show.
Thanks,
Colin. Right there in the title. We're on it, Colin. We're dialed in. It is August 12th. The smallest parcel of Oilers news will feed us for months. So that we're going to get into some other things with our Short for Giant question of the day. We're also kicking off our division previews every Monday. I think the plan is to get someone new from around the Pacific Division to talk about another team. Today, we're kicking it off with David Quadrelli, the
Canucks Conversation.
The Canucks were the top team in the Pacific last year in the regular season. In the regular season. They'll hang that banner, I'm sure. But we're going to talk to Quads about what the Canucks have gotten up to. Sure.
And I'll ask Quads this. What'll be a bigger moment on opening night? The Oilers lifting the Western Conference Champions banner or the Canucks lifting the Pacific Division Champions banner?
Well, I think we know the answer to that.
I think we do too, but I just wanted to ask.
We'll raise our own banner that day?
I don't think it's worth it. We'll raise Mikko Koskinen again.
That was fun when we did that.
That was fun.
It was good. All right, we'll dig into the YouTube chat a little bit more. There was one other thing I wanted to point out. Someone is in the chat, some stranger in the chat. Rumors changing day by day. Okay, here's where we need to be careful again. Media literacy, I think you could call it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful about who puts out information. And if someone puts out a report, maybe the thought process is, does this person have anything to lose by this report being wrong? Versus how much do they gain by throwing this out there, hoping it sticks and trying to go viral? And this has been a thing with the Leon Draisaitl contract talk a lot, where you'll just log on to Twitter and there's some random dude with 1,100 followers being like, well, I've heard it's done. 8x14. No movement clause. Deal signed. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
This person, do they have something to gain? Are they going to get a chuckle or feel some type of ego boost because their tweet has 600 likes and 100 retweets and a handful of people fall for it? Yes. There's a difference when, it's stuff like that being sent out from accounts that you're like, okay, how much credibility do they have? Whatever. Versus when a Bob Stauffer put something out. Versus when a Frank Saravalli, Elliot Friedman, whoever. When those guys put it out, their livelihood, their reputation is on the line. And I'm not saying they're never wrong. They're wrong. Frank's come on our show and we've read reports from Friedman, 32 Thoughts, all that stuff, who you read it and then a month later, you're like, boy, I can't believe that was thrown out there because it didn't end up happening, right? Like those guys get things wrong. I'm not trying to say they're perfect in that sense, but like put way more stock into that than random people on Twitter who can put whatever they want in their bio. They can pretend to know whoever they think they know, like, right? Like, careful with who's throwing stuff out.
You can buy the blue check mark now.
You can buy the blue check mark now, and that is a very good point. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, like sometimes I think people they will go out and try and do their own research and stuff like that.
Yeah, and also like it's Edmonton.
Just be careful,
Edmonton.
yeah.
People are obvious. Like I'm not saying random people or people who aren't true insiders like us. We stumble into information all the time.
I would never tweet something out because, quite frankly,
it's not my lane.
I don't care.
Yeah, and it's not my lane. But like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Although you had that big week once,
broke 3 things in 1 week, and then I retired from the insider game. I said that was annoying.
What was it? There was the jersey.
Yeah, I got the Heritage Classic jersey before anyone else. I got Puljujärvi getting healthy scratched, and there was one other thing too that I was like, bang, right on it.
Yeah, that was a huge week for the entire company, quite frankly.
Yeah, it was a big moment for us. Anyways, my point is people are going to randomly get things right sometimes too. It's Edmonton. People talk. People hear things. Like it's a small, big city, if you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like shit's going to happen just because I'm not throwing out stuff I'm hearing about the Draisaitl contract because I'm pretty sure I'm not right. But again, I've gotten shit right in the past.
But it's $14 million 8 years.
Well, and
full no move until year 8.
And also with the Draisaitl thing in particular, which is where I'm going with a lot of this, because there is a lot of like random Draisaitl stuff that gets floated out on a weekly basis. Saying that sources say Leon Draisaitl signing an 8-year deal worth $13.5 million is like saying the sun will come up on August 15th, right? Like, yeah, like it's going to happen, man. The Draisaitl deal's getting done in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Everyone is pretty confident in that.
Yeah.
Doesn't exactly take a
My
That's an
sources
insider
are
right now.
soy and Alfredo, and they'll be by my side forever. That's the most reliable I'll ever get with sauces, I think.
Oh, sauces.
Sauces.
Go-to sauces. I'm a big barbecue sauce is versatile.
Yeah, barbecue sauce you can play in many roles.
I've been big into my barbecue over the last little bit. Well, let's get into our weekend recap. How about that?
Yeah, Pat, if you go on my Twitter and you go down to maybe my...
Aaron's on vacation. Pat's producing
Pat's
today. Everyone say hi to Pat.
It is. Don't say you saw this, but don't say what it was. It was my 1, 2, 3, 4th tweet. You'll know which one.
Farming related?
My farming tweet.
Okay, we'll get that.
For me,
also, Pat, we're throwing a bunch of things at you, but that's what we do. Weekend recap is brought to you by our friends at Greta Street Food Bar Arcade. I hope everyone who went to Greta had a great weekend. I guarantee you did. Patio is vibing right now. We had some unbelievable weather. It was hot out this weekend. Great time to hit up the Greta patio. Weekday, who cares? Great way to kill a few hours. Go have a couple drinks, play some arcade games, kick your feet up on the patio. Yeah. Great stuff. Okay, weekend recap, Liam.
You want me to go?
We were talking about sauces. I'm into barbecuing right now. Any excuse. I don't want to use my oven in the summer. I only want to be barbecue. Bought a pack of hot dogs the other day. I usually am doing like a steak or a chicken breast or something different.
Meat. Do you ever put like potatoes on there or something?
Yeah. Oh, nice. Asparagus. I'm on a big asparagus kick right now.
We grow asparagus in our yard. It's the best.
Share
you as well?
No, you can share.
Well, it's over now. Asparagus season is over.
It's over. Okay. Anyways, hot dogs was last week. I just bought a pack of hot dogs, hot dog buns. Very easy. 10 minutes. Good. You're in, you're out. I'm out on the ketchup on hot dogs thing.
Whoa. Now that is crazy.
Onion and barbecue sauce. That is all I need for a good hot dog. If you want to get fancy, maybe sprinkle some shredded cheese on top too. But barbecue sauce is a way better condiment than ketchup.
I'm charm out.
Do you do ketchup with chicken nuggets?
Yes.
See, like that's insane to me.
I bet if we did a poll, Pat, I'll do the poll.
Okay, you do the poll because Pat's doing 40 things right now in his first day filling in. You do the poll. What's the better all-around condiment, ketchup or barbecue sauce?
BBQ sauce, ketchup.
Mistaken Mexican, Tyler, you're fired. Barbecue sauce and ketchup mix. And he is a food guy. We know that from getting to know him. Kimchi on a hot dog. I don't know what that is. Insane. Barbecue sauce is a superior sauce. Boom. Sergeant Battle's on my side. Mustard barbecue sauce goes hard. I could get behind that. Standard barbecue sauce. I'm good at that, though. Sweet and spicy mustard from Superstar. I'm not a big mustard guy.
Yeah, I'm not on the mustard, too. Not for me.
Weekend recap before we get into the sports side of things. This is what you wanted to show. Pat got it.
I had a very successful weekend in my
Those are
farm.
Huge.
Yeah, like an arm's length. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I have more, but I have to. What are you looking at?
Nothing.
So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my zucchinis. Those are the 5. I think I picked 10, and there's more coming. There's a lot out.
What are you gonna do with this many zucchinis?
I'm gonna give them away. You want a zucchini?
No.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna give away a few zucchinis to family and friends. And yeah, I don't know, a zucchini cake, I guess. For a year?
My mom used to grow zucchinis when I was a kid. She would use them in like muffins.
Yeah, all these zucchini muffins.
Yeah,
and stuff
okay.
like that. So I think we'll use that. I could barbecue them. Jaden said. I mean, you probably could.
Yeah, you can. I think you can. Like, California sign grilled zucchini steaks.
So good.
Put some
zucchini,
salt.
Good little veggie.
Yeah.
I picked some beets. Carrots are coming. Peas.
Barbecue zucchinis
corn.
and maceballs.
It's been a good year. I picked some cucumbers from my greenhouse the other day too. I've been thriving in the veggies.
Maybe I'll try a zucchini. I don't want one of your big ones though.
Maybe I'll give you a little one.
Something that's more average sized. Yeah.
I got one that's about this big. A good 6.
That's huge.
That is big.
All right. What else you get up to this weekend?
Well, I was at the Halinka all week, so that wrapped up this weekend.
Canada wins gold.
Canada won gold quite convincingly, to be honest. There was not really any doubt. 2-1 final. The score, like Czechia scored with like 7 seconds left. Czechia, a really good team as well. It's good to see the Czech Republic kind of come back to the top. Czechia, my apologies. Come back to the top of like the hockey world. I believe they won the World Championships. They've been doing really well at the World Juniors a lot recently. Second back-to-back years at the Halinka. They got a lot of good prospects. But yeah, Canada just their skill. They're obviously 4 lines, 6 defensemen, deep, 2 goalies. They were unreal. And then went to the Elks game yesterday, first game of the season, and they won.
2-0 since the coaching change.
That's not true.
Oh, 2-1.
2-2.
Oh, the coaching change was a month ago?
I think so. Oh, no, they had a bye week. They have 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1 since
But
coaching change. All right.
to win a home game for the Elks, big occasion. Trey Ford actually got injured in the game.
Yeah, so MBT had to take over.
Yeah, and he did well.
But the running game powered him.
Yes, 98 yards from Leak, I think his name was.
Who's very fast.
Yeah, he's really good. And Rankin is their kind of 1-2 punch. I think he had like 40 yards and a touchdown. Did well. And then, McLeod Bethel Thompson came in and just kind of slung the ball when he needed to and managed the game really well. And the defense, solid, really good. Couple of sacks, no picks or anything, but very disciplined. I think they had one penalty on the defense, which is really good. So they're now 2-7, which is crazy to think. But I think people like it was a good crowd.
Also,
yesterday.
and BC was 5-3 heading into that game.
Yeah,
no slouches.
I think people are just happy to see them win. Like have some success. People want to be entertained. Obviously everyone wants to see them win, but like sometimes it is just about having a good football game in front of you. And they won 33-16, so everyone went home with one of those like free coupons to a certain restaurant.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, that's always good. So right now, I know you're thinking this is a bit of a crazy conversation, but we are only halfway through the season, and in the CFL, teams with bad records can get into the playoffs. The Elks at 2-7 are 2 games back or 4 points back of the Calgary Stampeders, and they play the Stamps 3 more times.
Yeah, they play them back-to-back games coming up soon, Labor Day, and then the rematch here.
And then one more time for the end of the year.
And the rematch is a Saturday game.
And there is also a chance that you could cross over, correct, into the East?
I think so. I believe that's still a rule.
Yeah, Toronto and Ottawa both only have 5 wins. Ottawa has a tie mixed in there. But you could catch one of Toronto or Calgary. Like, it is not out of the question. Even like BC's only got the 5 wins. Like, there's a shot here. They got a shot.
So they've got
not a great shot, but they got a shot.
Well, they've got a chance to win 3 in a row when they play the Tiger Cats next.
Yeah.
And the Alouette Stampeders. I mean, it's definitely not easy, but it's a CFL. Like, anything really can happen. And to be fair to them, like, you look through the season, they've not really been blown out a lot. They just couldn't stop anything, even when they were scoring, and they were losing by 1 shot.
It was a victory weekend in the city of Edmonton because not only does Canada win the Halinka and the Elks win, the Riverhawks. We had Jake Lanferman on the show Friday, the manager of the team. It was their first ever playoff game down at Remax Field for the Riverhawks, and they go out and they win. And there's fireworks after the game, and there were 7,000 plus in attendance. Awesome. It was really like a perfect showcase of what that organization has done. And I loved the fact that they were able to play their last home game of the season in front of a damn near sold out crowd at Remax Field. And they go out and get the win.
So do they not, if they win, they don't come home at all?
Well, remember we talked to Jake because it's best of one. It's 1 game now for the final 2 rounds.
Oh, that is insane.
Yeah, that's why I asked him if he'd like to change that. So
I thought that was never mind.
So there you go. Riverhawks win. Shout out to the Riverhawks. Elks win. Shout out to the Elks. It's August. We're not going to sit here for the people being like, no one cares. Come on. It's August 12th. We spent 20 minutes on Evander Kane. That's enough.
I think, do people say that?
Yeah, someone was saying no one cares about the CFL. Well,
we have to now.
Yeah, that's all we got.
I think we should get, I think we should get someone from the Elks on the show on Friday. This is the first time we've discussed this.
Well, you know who's their media guy.
No, and that's why I'm saying I wonder if we could. We could get the big dog.
I don't think he hates me. I actually think he likes me.
I think it might work.
All right, I'll shoot him a text.
Yeah,
maybe he might be willing to help us out. I think it's a weird request to be like, can we get someone on Oilersnation every day?
But you know what? Like they play Saturday, so maybe we can pre-record something.
For Friday.
Maybe. We'll see.
Lehman?
We can get the big dog. That would be sick.
You want Trey Ford?
Yes.
There's no way we're getting Trey Ford. There's a 0% chance.
Well, I don't know.
We would get maybe the running back because he's fast.
Maybe. Okay. Honestly, if you wanted us to get an Elk on the show, maybe we don't get him this week, a different week, whatever. Like, who would you like us to try and get? Obviously, Trey Ford is a big one, and we'd love to have him, of course. But I mean,
I'd take
they got Sean Oakman.
I don't think he plays him.
No, he does. Remember that guy from Baylor?
Yeah, with the
he plays. He had a sack yesterday. Oh, here's actually something cool that happened yesterday, which I thought was really something small, but like kind of a cool thing to do. So do you know they sometimes go on the field and they do like they'll kick the field goal and stuff like that. So the gentleman comes on the field and kicks barefoot. Insane thing to do. But it's during a timeout, and the Elks are basically right next to where they're kicking. The guy kicks, and the players are like literally watching him. And Geno Lewis, who is one of the best wide receivers,
I did Geno as an interview.
he shook the guy's hand and said, "Great job." Like,
Hell yeah.
as like the play he was ending, I was like, that's like a really small detail, but like a cool thing to do. Also, Brian Hall turned 90 this week.
And he's still singing
90.
that song.
He was giving her. Pretty sure he accidentally said Eskimos at the end of it. But hey, who among us?
When he's been singing the song for like 40
I know.
years, so like I'll give him a slip up. He's 90.
Yeah, so it was good.
Wrapping up this segment with the poll.
Paul died.
Come on, show it to me. Show me.
58% said barbecue
sauce. Someone in here said, "Are the barbecue sauce voters really gonna eat French fries with barbecue sauce?" Hell yeah, I am. Pat, where do you come out on this?
Yeah, I gotta go with ketchup. I'm sorry, I'm a classic guy.
Okay, so that guy at the bottom there, Kieran, I think his name was, said, "Hey Liam, you looked scared shitless when I yelled at you in the construction." Okay, so the other day,
Yeah, I want this story.
I was walking out of my parents' house and they're doing some road construction on the street, and they were retarring the road.
Mm-hmm.
So there's obviously all these machines everywhere, and I'm like, God, I got to try and dodge all these machines. I'm trying to cross the street or not step on the tar. So I'm halfway across the road, and this guy just goes, "Hey!" I'm looking at him like, "Oh fuck!" Like I'm gonna run over or something. And he looks at me with this big smile on his face. He goes, "You're the Oilersnation guy."
Hell yeah.
Yes, I am. And he said, "Have a great day." So I hope you had a great day too.
Yes,
I was scared shitless. Fucking got me good.
Yelled at him. Yeah. I am like notoriously terrible at remembering names and like whatever faces. I was at Costco yesterday. I did a big Costco day.
Wow.
Big Costco day for me. And walking out past the self-checkout, and this guy goes, "Hey, Tyler," and goes for the fist bump. And I was like, "Hey," and I go and I fist bump, and I'm like, man, first off, I'm in the St. Albert Costco. So like the chances of me knowing this person are relatively high. And I'm looking at him like, oh my God, am I supposed to know who this guy is? Like, is he about to spark up a conversation with me about like something and I can't remember him? And then he just goes, "Big fan of the show." I was like, oh, thank God. Yes, thank you very much. And I'm always very awkward when people do that as well. But anyways, that was the weekend recap for our friends over at Greta. Liam, let's wrap up. We're going to get to David Quadrelli in a couple of minutes here, but actually we do need to get to a segment we like to call, or we do call, What's Trending. And it is brought to you by our friends over at A&W. Liam, Burgers to Beat MS Day is back. It is coming up in just 10 days as well. Thursday, August 22nd, for every teen burger sold on Burgers to Beat MS Day, $2 will be donated to MS Canada. In the lead up to August 22nd, you can support Burgers to Beat MS by rounding up your bill with any purchase at an A&W, donating online at burgerstobeatms.ca or through the A&W app or through your favorite delivery apps when you order A&W. A&W rallying communities to unite for the cause and raise awareness about MS in Canada. On August 22nd, Canadians can show their support and help envision a world free of MS by visiting their local A&W and purchasing a delicious teen burger. We will get to what's trending, but first, a message from A&W.
Grab a burger, beat MS on August 22nd.
There you go.
There you go.
What's trending, Liam? The Olympics are over. Wah, wah.
Actually, kind of sucks.
By this point, I'm usually like, good. I'm good.
But
with
it's
it.
cool. I always enjoyed waking up and just having it on.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
to
fair.
Wake up, it's like nice.
It really powers you through this lull. Like the lull period for us sporting wise this year, Oilers carried us right up to June, Olympics for the bulk of July and the beginning, or for the end of July, beginning of August. Like,
and I had the European Championships for England as well.
You
in
did?
that gap. And
oh
now-
yeah, that was really exciting.
Yeah, and then obviously right into the Olympics, and now soccer aside for me, big win for Bolton on the weekend. Forgot to put that.
They
in there.
won.
2-1 against Leighton Orient.
Wanderers up.
Leighton Orient, not for me. They are dirty, and they don't know it. They think they're better than they are. So here's a funny thing happened. Sorry to wrap up my recap again.
I also missed something too. I'm going to bring up.
So Bolton scored first. Dion Charles, we all know him, gets a goal, and then
DC, I call him.
he does this celebration where he does like a chicken wing. Okay,
Yeah.
Does it in front of Bolton fans. So for those of you who don't know European soccer, they put the away fans in one section, home fans in the rest of the stadium. So we do that, and then Leighton Orient score later. Some no name, I don't even know his name. Does the same dance but to mock him, to make it 1-1. And then Bolton scored and won the game in like the 80th minute or something like that. But it's like, what are you doing?
Clown.
There's no rivalry
clown.
between these two teams. Bolton's in the Northwest, Leyton Orient's in like London. So to you, the
Get outta
Leyton
here.
Orient no name.
You spit in the face
Go
of
away.
Bolton Wanderers fans, we respond.
Damn straight.
Hell yeah. We also, one of our listeners, Tyler Mulick, got engaged on the
Oh,
weekend.
yes. Congratulations.
I commented, sick, congrats on his Instagram post, but
Wow.
congratulations to Tyler and the
Mhm.
soon-to-be Mrs. Mulick.
Yes.
Don't never see her in the chat, but we see Tyler a
Yeah,
lot. So
never seen her.
hopefully the wedding planning doesn't get in the way of him contributing in the YouTube chat next season.
Yes.
Okay,
Fingers
quickly,
crossed.
what's trending? People are mad about the closing ceremony outfits. I know we got to get to quads too. We'll get to quads.
Maybe he has a thought on it.
Well, maybe we'll get to him in a bit. But also the YouTube chat's congratulating Tyler Mulick, and that warms my heart. People are saying Lululemon dropped the ball on the post-Olympic outfits. I actually think these kind of go hard. I think they're cool.
I think they're cool too.
Yeah, like it's supposed to be different. Not going out there in a suit and tie.
Yeah, exactly. And it
Not
looks very
walking,
comfortable
yeah.
for the athletes. It's also 30 plus degrees there. I think it's cool. I think people who are being harsh on Lululemon were probably wearing Lululemon when they were doing it.
Yep, I'm wearing Lululemon
Like,
right now.
Me, not
There you
today, but typically.
No, and you made a great point. You were like, because people were like, they gotta stop giving it to Lululemon. Blah, blah.
Well,
Nation gear,
yeah, like,
we'll do it.
I
but
don't
still.
know. I
It's fine. I would rock those shorts. Those shorts look cool.
think that shirt's sick too.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, as the guy who almost walked outside in all baby blue a couple of weeks ago,
How
I'd be
could it-
so down for
that
this.
could have been disastrous.
Yeah, it could
Saw a guy the other day on Saturday golfing in all baby blue out at Cougar Creek. And I was like, that's bold.
Dope.
It's bold. All right. I like it. Lululemon did fine. What's trending was, well, exactly that. Also, are we frozen or are we still good? No, we're good. All right.
We're
Good. Good. That's all that's trending.
I
The
have
other
one other thing which really made me laugh. Sorry, this can go right in squads, but yesterday was Country Day at the Elks.
Okay.
They were doing the anthem singer, and they were like, "Okay, now stand up for today's anthem. Today's anthem will be performed by Alan Jackson,
What?
The Experience."
Oh.
and that's how they paused there as well. I thought it was so funny. And then this guy that looked like Alan Jackson came on. It's just huge pause
Yeah,
until
me.
they got him on the screen. Classic Elks.
Classic Alex, but they won. All right, let's get out to the Star Mechanical guest line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about them online by visiting them at starmechanical.ca. Edmonton's finest. They've been doing it for more than 20 years. David Quadrelli from Canucks Army and Canucks Conversation joins the show. Quads, are you sad the Olympics are done?
Not really. I didn't even know they were done, to be honest with you. I hardly watched the Olympics. I'm not the right person to talk about the Olympics. I know I was a bit late, but were you guys talking about like European soccer before I got on here?
Yeah, Bolton had a big win over Leyton Orient on Saturday. Did you
Is
watch?
that the Premier League?
Not quite. That is League One. That
So
is
it goes Premier League,
Championship League One.
but Liam's from
Which one has Wrexham in it?
League One, actually. Wrexham just got promoted to League One.
Oh, they're up to League One
yeah,
now.
we're in the same division now.
So you gotta play
Really?
Wrexham?
We'll be on the documentary.
Hey.
Awesome. All right, guys. See you later. I got my question answered.
There you go. Thanks for coming, Quads.
Yeah, I appreciate you popping on the show, Quads. So we won't ask you any of the Olympic stuff, so we'll quickly skip through that. What have you been doing this summer? You been getting out to any Vancouver Canadians games?
I have not been to a Seas game. Oh no, I have been to a Seas game. Yes, I was. It was a great time too. I don't know why I thought I hadn't. It's because I went in like May, because now it's the high A affiliate of the Jays. So growing up, like early years of my life, they were the AAA affiliate of the Oakland A's, but then they became the affiliate of the Jays. But they were like the rookie ball affiliate. So it was 2 months of the year. It was fun, but it's nothing like what it is now. Now you see like top prospects. Like in recent years, we've had like Alec Manoah come through. Marcus Stroman was there. Aaron Sanchez. We saw all these guys first. You know, all these top prospects are coming through. So it's a different thing to go see if you're a baseball fan. You know, if you're like me and you watch a lot of different teams, you're looking at, you know, the Mariners' top prospects. You're looking at the Diamondbacks' top prospects. It's cool. It's cool. It's a fun atmosphere. But I went to one game and I went in like May. So it feels like I haven't been, because I haven't really gotten that experience of going out to Nat Bailey, sitting in the sun and having a great time. So I'm going to get back out. There's a couple games left and I'm excited to go.
Have you done any spice runs this summer?
I have. Yeah. I went to Trader Joe's, excuse me, And I texted our pal Bag Milk, the spice rack from Trader Joe's. And what did we leave with? We had the spicy dill pickle mustard. I don't know if you guys have seen that. That's really good. Or maybe it's not spicy. The dill pickle mustard from Trader Joe's is really good. We got that. My fiance got a bunch of different seasonings. I don't know exactly what she if you think I'm big into spices, you should see her. She's really big into the spice rack over at Trader Joe's. So yeah, we loaded up. We loaded up on a lot, and then we went and watched the Mariners get spanked by the Angels.
Classic. I'm gonna go do that actually. Hopefully it's the other way around.
Because you're going to LA.
When I go to LA, the Mariners play the Angels. My
Well,
dad,
you'll get a better team now.
yeah. No, what's the big guy called on the Angels? Trout?
Who-
Mike Trout?
Oh, on the Angels. Yeah, no Mike Trout.
Yeah, no Mike Trout.
He's not playing.
No, not worth the value of the ticket. Anyway, go on.
Okay, let's get into the hockey talk. The Canucks offseason, some of the headline moves, or the one big move they made was on the free agent market, going out and getting a Jake DeBrusk. A lot of the talk, if I'm remembering correctly from the Oilers series, was, that Elias Pettersson line not getting going. And was it on Pettersson? Was it, maybe on them getting him better support next season? Do you like the DeBrusk fit, and do you think he's a guy who could fit well with Pettersson?
Yeah, I think it's a great fit for Pettersson specifically, but for the Canucks as a whole, I think it's a great fit. Like the running joke I've had on my show, guys, is it's going to be fun in November when Jake DeBrusk is on the first line with JT Miller and Brock Besser, and Elias Pettersson has Niels Höglander and Daniel Sprong on his wings. And again, I'm saying this as a joke, but like I wholeheartedly believe that we're going to see that at some point, that we're going to see a Pettersson line with Höglander and Daniel Sprong as his wingers, with DeBrusk going up to the first line. Look, DeBrusk is just a fit for what team the Canucks want to be. If you guys remember the Oilers series, really the Canucks playoffs as a whole, they really struggled to score, especially at 5-on-5. Power play wasn't great either, but that's a whole other can of worms that DeBrusk is going to help with. But in terms of purely 5-on-5 play, the Canucks really struggled to generate off the rush. And after the season, Rick Tocchet spoke a lot about how that's an area he wants to improve. That's an area he wants his team to open up more. And how do you do that? You open up your defensive systems a little bit. You open up with letting your players take chances, right? And I think the term he's used a few times is we want our guys to play a little more freely. So yes, the Canucks were very defensively sound last year, and they weren't quite at the level of like the LA Kings in not generating offense and locking it down on defense, but it does feel like there is room for growth in terms of offense. But again, they didn't really have the guys to do it. So now with this free agency period, it really feels like they've gone out and gotten some guys. Certainly their forward group is better than it was at the start of last season and at the end of the season in the playoffs. Certainly this forward group is better than that. So I think you like that. I think you like the DeBrusk signing because look, obviously people are going to say I'm biased, but I think it's one of the better free agency contracts handed out. And anytime you can hand out a deal that's 7 years long and your fans aren't saying, well, this is going to suck in the final years. And hey, it might. We don't have a crystal ball. But for the most part, the feedback, not just among Canucks circles, but nationally as well, it seems pretty positive on DeBrusk. And like, again, you look at just what other players signed for, like you look at the Chandler Stevenson contract in Seattle, for example, and then you compare that to the DeBrusk signing and you say, okay, this was a good signing for the Canucks to make.
And the other thing too is it's not like Jake DeBrusk is 30. The bad years are not ages 35, 36, 37. The tough years, if there are any, because I like DeBrusk, I would have been fine with the Oilers giving him that contract. The tough years could be 31 to 34, where you would hope he should still be relatively productive in that time. So I don't hate that deal at all. I think it's a good shot for them to take. I have one more quickly, and then you can get to whatever you want, but it's just tying that into Pettersson a little bit. Obviously, the playoffs didn't go well. Obviously, there were tough stretches towards the end of last season. He's got the big contract now. Is it fair to say there's pressure on him heading into next season, or do you think it's maybe overblown and the summertime has allowed everything to kind of calm down?
No, I think there is pressure. Look, guys, like Elias Pettersson was the Canucks' third line center in the series against the Oilers. You can't win a playoff series when that's the case. Maybe you can against the Predators, and the last iteration of the Predators, but like, the Oilers just had way more offensive firepower. The way that the Canucks were going to be able to beat the Oilers, and obviously it got close to in 7 games, I guess, but Like, let's be honest, the Oilers were the better team in that series. They deserved to win the series, but the way the Canucks were going to be able to beat them was, okay, we got to have our secondary scoring. Like, we've got to have these guys that are going to be able to go win their matchups. Like, Elias Pettersson's your third line center, and he's not doing a phenomenal job of it, right? Like, that's not good. There's pressure on that. And that's the thing, is it wasn't just the playoffs. The playoffs mattered the most, but that was since January. Like, he was player of the month in January, so I should say since January, like February, it really started just to fall off for him. He did reveal that he was dealing with knee tendonitis, but there were varying reports, it seemed, about how the team felt about him coming out and saying that he was dealing with knee tendonitis. But look, his skating looked worse. I can tell you that. He was going down easier. So if he says it was affecting him, I have no reason not to believe him. But there is pressure. There is pressure going into this season. And there was a similar slump when he signed his first contract after his ELC, the 3-year bridge deal that he just finished up. There was similar rust that he needed to shake off. I guess you can call it rust because that was at the start of the season, but the common denominator here, guys, was contract negotiations, right? And market pressure. So now, how does he deal with that pressure now that the $11.6 million deal has kicked in? Because look, he found his stride after that first 3 months of the contract negotiations and the bridge deal being the result of it and everything. He found his stride after that. So how does he do now? Like, how does he do now heading into this season? I think he's a really interesting guy, like just the way he thinks, about the game, but also about life and the kind of pressure he puts on himself. He's a super interesting guy. A really thoughtful guy. Like, when you have conversations with him, you can tell he thinks the game at a very high level. I almost wonder if sometimes he gets in his own way because of how much he thinks. So I hope he can find his stride this season, but unequivocally, there is a ton of pressure on him. I think he probably has the most pressure of any Canuck to have a good training camp and have a good preseason and hit the ground running, right? Like, hit the ground running this season and get the Canucks off to a hot start.
What do you make of the blue line heading into the season?
Vinny's
Yeah. Again, talking to our pal Bag Milk just about what Vinny Desharnais could be, because there's this notion that, like, Patrick Allvin and Rick Tocchet have both talked about splitting up Quinn Hughes and Filip Hronek. That was one of the best pairings in the league. Take that, Tyler. Remember when I gave you that prediction at the start of the year and you laughed at me? I told you. But in all seriousness, like, that was one of the best pairings in the league for like the first 3 months of the season. They did take a step back afterwards, right? And they were still good. They were still the Canucks' best pairing by far. But what you guys probably noticed, again, in the playoffs, and especially that Edmonton series, it wasn't that pairing that was going out against Edmonton's top line. Yeah. It was the Soucy Myers pairing, and they did a fine job shutting it down. But what did that mean? It meant that they were defending a lot. There was no offense, right? So basically what happened in the playoffs, and especially in the Oilers series, was if Quinn Hughes wasn't on the ice, the Canucks couldn't move the puck. So in identifying that, the Canucks want Filip Hronek to drive his own pairing. So if you look at those pairings, what does that leave you? If you have Quinn Hughes and Filip Hronek split up, that means that you're either putting Quinn Hughes with Tyler Myers, that experiment hasn't worked out in the past, or your boy Big Vinny playing with Quinn Hughes. And of course, when everybody looks at that, they're going to say, well, Vinny can't play on the top pairing. You almost have to understand that Quinn Hughes this season, if they execute this, Quinn Hughes isn't going to be hard matched against top competition like he was when he was on Hronek's pairing for the start of the season. It's going to be more like what they did in the playoffs, where they have that Soucy Myers pairing where they're like, okay, we're comfortable putting this pairing out. Or even, hey, if it's Soucy Hronek, now you have two top pairings that you feel comfortable with. So that's the whole kind of premise of it. I have my doubts. Look, I love me some Big Vinny. I've heard he's a great guy. I've heard nothing but good things from you guys, but look, like, I don't think he's very good at handling the puck. He found really good results with Brett Kulak in Edmonton, and I think you would like to have Quinn Hughes over Brett Kulak. So I think Quinn Hughes is going to be a better partner for Vinny Desharnais. The question now is, okay, what kind of competition are they going up against? What does it look like? I'm not trying to come on here and slander Vinny Desharnais, but as many Oilers fans have pointed out, it might be a tall task to ask him to play on the top pairing. That being said, I will say a reason he signed in Vancouver was he got a phone call from Rick Tocchet, where Rick Tocchet and Adam Foote basically said, like, hey, we like you. We think you can be a lot better. Come to Vancouver. We've turned, we've made defensemen better. Like this past season, basically every Canucks defenseman exceeded expectations. ended up in a big contract for Nikita Zadorov, obviously. Hell, Ian Cole got 3.1 in Utah for on a 1-year deal. That's the most he's signed for in any recent year. So they have a good track record so far, this coaching staff, of making defensemen play better than they have, especially in the case of like a guy like Tyler Myers. He was he was quite bad for a lot of his Canucks tenure. I think he was miscast. He was being asked to be a top pairing guy. But he also didn't have the coaching. And this year, the last year of that big Albatross contract, that was probably his best year as a Canuck. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they finally had some defensive structure. They finally had the coaching. You've got Sergei Gonchar, Adam Foote, Rick Tocchet coaching that defense group. And I think the results spoke for themselves. So I'm not doubting Big Vinny, but I am to some extent saying, okay, if they really want to split Hughes and Hronek, I'm curious what that looks like and who's playing with Hughes. Because it looks like it would be Vincent Desharnais.
I love Vinny.
Me too.
That is a tall task. I think literally the man's a giant.
He's a big boy.
But for a guy who couldn't get into the Oilers lineup in the playoffs, I think it's kind of insane that the Canucks signed him, to be honest.
Well, I just think
the Oilers literally did not want to play this guy because they didn't think he was good enough to play against Dallas
or
Florida or Vancouver. I don't think he played very often.
He was in and out.
But for
he
whatever,
really came out when Broberg started to play. But anyways,
for whatever reason, now they think he's going to be good enough to defend against the Oilers. Speed. The Oilers have speed. Vinny is not the fleetest of foot, is he?
He's not.
I like him. He did a really good job. His story is awesome. But I'm excited to see him in the next jersey.
Here's the thing, though, is like when this contract was signed, it was the only free agent contract, other than maybe the Myers one, but that was an extension. It was probably the only free agent contract. Actually, no, I know it was. That Canucks fans were immediately like, all right, management, we have no reason not to trust him in this market, is what it kind of felt like. But yeah, that was a strange one. Like that was a strange one. And again, I'm not trying to say anything bad about Vinny the person. I've heard nothing but good things, like I said. But again, it kind of seems redundant because in my mind, Vinny Desharnais is a third pairing defenseman. And ideally, so is Tyler Myers, right? So a lot of the conversations heading into free agency was, okay, go get someone for the right side. Then you can bump down Tyler Myers. What an embarrassment of riches to have that guy on your third pairing. One too many years on his extension, but we're not going to get into that. Just when it comes to the construction of the defense core, it feels a bit redundant to have Vinny and Tyler Myers at $5 million total.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, last one I got for you. And I mean, there's a lot of it in our chat because obviously the chat's going to lean anti-Canucks, but the Canucks had the highest PDO in the league at 5-on-5 last year. A lot of things went right for them on their path to a division title. What are some things you're looking at and saying, okay, I'm nervous about this going right again, or I'm nervous about this going right again? Or do you think this is a team that's capable of repeating as Pacific Division champs in the regular season?
I do have them second. I know the Athletic put out that prediction that has them and the Oilers right there. And again, like we all know why the Oilers weren't at the top of the division, and it's because they had a bad start. They fired their coach and they play like a better team since then. So I don't know if there's doubts in the Edmonton market that the Oilers can't just immediately hit the ground running, but I have no reason to think that they are going to struggle. Like maybe you're going to have stretches, but to a point where the Canucks are able to win the division, I don't think so. I have the Oilers as the number one team in the Pacific Division, but what I will say is like a lot of things that went right. Okay, let's break it down. Brock Besser scores 40 goals. I don't think that's going to happen again. That was the first season of Brock Besser's career that he was healthy. It was also the first season of his career that he scored 30 goals, let alone 40. So yeah, I don't think 40 goals is going to happen again for Brock Besser. So there's one. Where are those goals going to come from? Hopefully now with the added depth that you have in your forward group, you get some more. There's some talk about Kiefer Sherwood becoming the next Dakota Joshua in this market, right? So you've got a lot of different options. The one thing I will say is their depth has improved. So the area that they struggled in scoring when it really mattered, I think that's going to be better. The one stat that really pops out, and I'm not sure if it was true right up until the end of the year, but for most of the season, they were dead last in rush chances, like creating rush chances, but they were first in goals off the rush. Like they had the most goals off the rush, but they had the fewest rush chances for. Think about that. Yeah. That is the epitome of everything going right. It's just like, yeah, we don't do it often, but when we do, we score goals. So again, is that going to happen? No. But are they going to improve on the rush? yeah, they're going to try to create more offense off the rush. So it's a really interesting year. It's a really interesting year for the Canucks. I think they took a step back on defense. You should have the same steady goaltending that you're used to. But when it comes to the forward group, I think they've made some pretty significant improvements there. And I think that's going to matter. Do I think that they can beat the Oilers? No, the Oilers made significant improvements too. Like I had the Oilers as one of my big winners of free agency. I really like Skinner. I really like Arvidsson. Yeah, I really liked what the Oilers did in free agency. So, and I know I'm not pandering, even though I am on the Oilers show, but I think both teams had really strong off seasons. Which one do I think is going to finish first in the Pacific? It is still the Oilers.
Fair. I think that is fair. I do think a bit of a step back for the Canucks is probably the right way to look at it, but I also don't think I think between them and Vegas, maybe it is tight for second, but I don't think they're in danger of being surpassed by an LA or by any of those kind of rebuilding teams either. So it is interesting. I did like what they did in the summer because the DeBrusque is good, and I like Pius Suter on the deal they got him done. So I think the offseason was a win for kind of both Edmonton and Vancouver, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if come playoff time next year, we're bringing you on for another series preview. Quads, appreciate your time, man. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and hopefully we see you in Edmonton right away.
All right, cheers, boys.
There you go. David Quadrelli from Canucks Army and Canucks Conversation with Harman Dial, who is also very smart, just like Quads. All right, moving along. Okay, we got to shorten things up today because I don't even know what we spent the bulk of our time talking about. I guess we did 20 minutes with Quads, but still, maybe we'll save the giant question. We had Short for Giant question. Shout out to our friends at Short for the Giant. We'll do that Wednesday.
Sure.
We're going to give you, now that we believe, not know, but we believe from Bob that Evander Kane's going to be on LTIR to start the season. We're going to give our projected lines for opening night. So we'll do that Wednesday. Let's do a player grade for now, though. It's brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Fishing rods, reels, tackle, boat accessories. If you're going to spend any time on the water from now till the end of the summer, fall, you need to be hitting up our friends at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, right in the heart of Sherwood Park. Today's player grade is quite honestly an easy one. It's Leon Draisaitl. We are on number 29 as we work our way through the Oilers lineup. Regular season wise for our boy Leon Draisaitl, it was we'll call it a good year. I don't think it's a great year because anytime your point total drops off by 22 points, you're not going to sit here and give a guy an A+. He still hit the 40 goal mark. He still hit the 100 point mark, third straight season for both of those metrics for Leon Draisaitl. But it was the first time over the stretch of 2 years that he didn't score 50 goals. So it was a step back. But when we were doing our prep before the show, you did point out some factors that maybe work against that.
Yeah, I think in the regular season, he was just a rotating cast of line mates, wasn't he? And that's really the thing the Oilers tried to address this season and bringing in guys like Skinner, Arvidsson. Hey, even if they're not his line mates next season, there's somebody that you can come and play with him on a regular basis. So, yeah, maybe that's a factor into why. I think obviously the power play, what did he have the year before? 26 power play goals? Is that too few? Something like that? Like, that was always going to be hard to kind of hit that standard.
So he went from 32 to 21.
Okay, yeah. So that was going to be difficult to kind of hit again. But I think overall, like, you can't be disappointed with what Draisaitl did throughout the regular season.
So for his grade, I went A for the regular season.
I think that's fair. I don't think he was his best.
Playoffs is a little bit tougher to dissect. I mean, you look at just the straight up box scores from Leon Draisaitl in the postseason. 25 games, 10 goals, 21 assists. 31 points in 25 games in the playoffs is legit, man. 16 of those points came away from the power play as well. You know, he was playing away from McDavid for a good chunk of it at 5v5. But what we did is we went through kind of the game logs. And what stands out to me when you go through Leon Draisaitl's playoff game logs is the fact he had 10 points in 5 games, 2 points per game against the LA Kings. And then from then on, Vancouver, he was electric, especially early on in that series. But he recorded a point in every single game against the Vancouver Canucks and had multi-point efforts in 6 of those 7 games.
Unreal.
Sorry, 5 of those 7 games. Unreal. But I'm looking at a guy who is paid and will soon to be paid very handsomely to score a lot of goals. And I'm seeing 8 straight games to end the playoffs without a goal for Leon Draisaitl. So again, was he banged up? Yes. Everyone, a lot of guys to an extent were. Was Leon Draisaitl their best player through 2 rounds? Absolutely.
Yeah.
No goals in 8 games to end the playoff run. That's got to hurt his grade to me. So was he, again, their second best forward in the playoffs? Yeah, I think so. I still think Hyman scored a ton, but I still think Leon Draisaitl was their second best forward for the playoffs as a whole.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
But I'm giving him a B+ grade because I didn't see the productivity from a superstar in the biggest moments of that run.
Yeah, and look, there's no denying the injuries that came out, kind of broken ribs, stuff like that, right? But McDavid had those injuries, and you could argue his game got better as the playoffs went on, and Draisaitl was still good. But
again,
no goals.
Subpar Leon Draisaitl, still a great player.
Yeah, so I think it's hard to give him to match what he did in the regular season with his grade. So I think B+ is fair.
Yep. Pat Puff is behind the scenes producing. Give us a take, Pat. A in the regular season, B+ in the playoffs. Do you disagree with either of those?
No, I think that's pretty fair, especially in the playoffs. Like you said, with an injury, it's hard to, you can't blame it on him by any means. But as you mentioned, 10 goals in 25 games, you would just like to see a little bit more from him in those last couple series. But I mean, it's tough. You're playing the best teams in the league as well, and especially with the injuries. I don't blame him for it, but I think B+ is solid.
But also, remember, I think the pregame shows in DFO Live ahead of both Game 6 and Game 7, when we'd sit with Frank in the arena, what did he say? If Leon Draisaitl has one big game, they're winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, he didn't.
And he didn't. It's not all on Leon Draisaitl. Just if that part right there in that sentence that I put out gets clipped, it's going to make me look bad because it sounds like I'm heaping a lot of blame on him. I'm not. Again, great player, did great things. But was quiet in the Cup final. And again, B+ is a good grade. I'm not giving him a D or a C. So, yeah. See, Mulek says A+ and A+. Still the second best player in the league. I don't think he's the second best player in the league. I think he is the best playoff performer of his generation, and he proved that in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. But then I think in the last 2, you kind of sat there and went, God, is this dragging on him a little bit?
Probably top 5 in the league.
He's definitely top 5 in the league. Yeah.
Top 8.
Yep.
10.
Totally. All right. Good.
I'm
Good.
chilling.
All right, let's wrap up the show with a little bit, or with our other sports report. It's brought to you by our friends at Bet365, the largest sports betting platform globally. You can get in on a wide range of markets by using that code, Oily Bonus, and downloading the app. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. We talked Olympics. We talked Elks. There's no odds up yet on the Elks to win a 3rd straight game, but I shall be tempted. The Toronto Blue Jays stay stinky is what I wrote in the notes.
Shocker.
Yeah, they're not good. They dropped 2 or 3 to Oakland, but that's good because the Jays are trying to get a better draft pick. They begin a 3-gamer against the Los Angeles Angels tonight out in LA. Again, no Mike Trout. That is going to be some bad baseball. But one thing I like about the Jays right now is betting on our boy Vladimir Guerrero Jr. His hitting streak came to an end at, I believe, 21 games against the Oakland A's, which is an insane hitting streak. It was 19 or 21. It came to an end in the series finale against Oakland. I like him to bounce back, so I went to Bet365, and I did Vladdy over 1.5 bases. Same game parlay, which I like on Bet365. I did Vladdy over 1.5 bases. I did the Jays to go over 3.5 runs, and then the game as a whole to go over 9.5 for the total. And that was, I think, plus 300. So there's my same game parlay for our friends at Bet365. Shout out to them. Before we wrap up, we got 60 seconds left in the show. Let me tell you that we are still taking bids for the Oilers Nation Open. If you want to golf with myself, Jay, and Chalmers, you can do it. And all the proceeds are going to Gregor's Grads. Head to nationgear.ca, go to events, go to the golf tournament. You can still sign up as a single mosaic. You can sign up as a team of 4. Or if you and a friend want to play golf with myself, Jay, and Chalmers, and try to win this thing as a 5-sum, you can do it. All proceeds going to Gregor's Grad. Shout out to the Millwoods Golf Course. Shout out to Star Mechanical and Oodle Noodle, our presenting sponsors as well. Also, sponsorship and volunteer opportunities. If you want to volunteer, if you're not a golfer, but you want to hang out with the crew for the day, shoot me an email, tyler@thenationnetwork.com. Say, I'm interested in volunteering in the golf tournament, and I can probably steer you in the right direction, or we'll see if we have a spot for you, because I know we already have a handful of volunteers locked in. So it is a fantastic time. I love the Oilers Nation Open. It is one of my favorite days of the year, and Millwoods is in great shape, and I'm playing great golf.
You are.
Shot a career best yesterday.
I heard. You told me.
I know. I was very
79?
excited. 78. 78. Dialed in. So I'll be good. Play with me. We can win this thing. I believe in us. All right. That is a wrap on today's edition of the show. Like I said, we'll be back on Monday when we're doing some projected lines and other things. So look forward to that. Got a new episode of Real Life dropping this afternoon. That'll be fun. BM's on vacation.
Too bad.
We miss him around here. But anyways, that's a wrap on today's edition of the show. Shout out to Pat Puff for filling in behind the scenes as our boy Aaron enjoys the week off. Everyone in the Greta Bar YouTube chat, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll chat with you on Wednesday. Oil up.
Farewell.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.